Yo, what it do, St. Louis? Y'all know what time it is. It is 7 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. So that means it's time for the St. Louis Hustle Podcast. And we're talking self-awareness today, man. Self-awareness is a mug. When you get to really know who you are and define that for yourself, it'll change your whole life, man. So we're going to talk about what self-awareness is, the importance of being self-aware. And if you stick around to the end of the show, we're going to give you some tips on how to develop that self-awareness so that you can, if you're in need of a transformation, then start with yourself, man. It's funny, Michelle, that when you change the way you see the world, the whole world changes. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So do me a favor, comment in the chat where you're from, drop the name of your business and or your brand. Just do not share any links and smash that share button, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to go ahead and get into today's show, self-awareness.
Growing up in St. Louis has never been easy, and most say if you want to succeed here, that you must leave and put down roots somewhere else because of the strong crabs in a barrel mentality here.
I don't know if I'm just an optimistic person, but to see people like Chuck Berry and Nelly make it in the music industry, or the Roberts brothers and Dave Stewart in business, or William Lacey Clay Jr. in politics, can we blame the city, or is it that people just aren't hungry enough?
We're talking to all of the movers and shakers in this town, from entertainers to politicians, social activists and organizers, and of course, entrepreneurs.
Is there a curse on this city that holds people back? Is there an unseen hand that decides who makes it and who doesn't? You're about to find out.
Welcome to St. Louis Hustle.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the St. Louis Hustle Podcast this morning. I'm your host, CORTEZ. So that's my girl, Michelle. Hey. And we are coming to you live and direct from the Monetize My Life studios here in St. Louis, Missouri. And if you have not gotten your copy of Monetize My Life, and you know good and doggone well, you need a second stream of income. Guys, listen, let me be serious with them for a second, Michelle. Listen. Oh, yeah. The key to financial success is to find one or two ways to get paid for one or two things you already love to do. Then build a brand and a system around it, and boom, there you go. And this book will help you do that. All you got to do is go to monetizemylifeacademy.com/free book. And for a limited time, you not only get the free book, you also get access to my most popular course for free, How to Become an Influencer. So y'all make sure y'all show your boys some love and check that out. It's one of the ways we support the show is through our own products. As you see, we don't have any corporate sponsors, but we looking, we ain't turning down nothing but our collar. So if you want to sponsor the show, you're more than welcome. But we're talking self-awareness today. Go ahead, comment in the chat where you're from, drop the name of your business and or your brand, and smash that share button, ladies and gentlemen. And we're gonna get all the way up into it. So Rita is in the building. The Pantoflit. I don't know if I'm saying that right or not, Rita. I'm sorry if I'm not. Pantoflet. All right. Well, welcome to the show nonetheless. Michelle, how was your weekend, sis?
Man, yeah, that's what it was. The weekend, I had a really awesome weekend. It was really fun. I said that like I was 12. It was fun. I went to went to brunch with a really, really good friend of mine, friend of the show, life coach, Melissa Wilson. Went to brunch with her and her daughter on Saturday. And if y'all don't know Melissa and her daughter, Pooh Bear, hi Pooh. Man, you gotta know that you can't go nowhere with them because you talk about Ayana Fix My Life. Mm-hmm. It's like getting double teamed by like Ayana and her daughter. Man, you're gonna lose, ladies. You're gonna lose in our lash.
If you got Ayana and then Ayala in training.
You heard me?
They double teamed you.
Man, I told them, I said, look, I'm looking cute today and trying to lose a lash. It's never gonna be that kind of brunch. They was like, they had already decided they high-fived each other. Yes, you are. I was like, oh, okay. But it was great. It led me to the A word today, so I'm gonna save that. But it was a great time, and the mimosas. Shout out to the Marquee. They need to sponsor this show because I support that business. I got to get to. If y'all know something about somebody that do something with it, y'all need to put them on game because they need to sponsor this show because I support the Marquee. People have been going over to this new place. They've been going to another place that's on another street that does a brunch. To me, they can't fool with the Marquee. The element, the atmosphere is just better. And I just like it. So anyway, Mimosas was great. The weekend was wonderful. What I do want to talk about real quick is I am embarrassed by my people. I love my people. I'm embarrassed. The shenanigans that went on downtown. Who does that? Who does that? They were jumping on the cop car. I just saw it on the news. And of course, you know, if we had been doing something positive, we really wouldn't show. We just showed that one time on the 5 o'clock news, and that's it. Oh, but no, we doing what we did. Oh, that's gonna run over and over and over. And I'm pretty sure we made national news as well, right?
I don't even know what happened.
You know what the?
No.
Turn the TV on, man. There was, I guess, somewhere downtown, there was a party. Somebody had a like an Airbnb party or something like that, and so it was a noise disturbance. So they called the police, and all these kids, it was about 100 plus kids. This, you know, cops show up, and all of a sudden these kids, they all start jumping on the cop car. When I say jumping on the car, there probably was 10, 15 kids dancing, jumping, standing, stomping on this cop car. That one little girl was up there twerking. If you don't sit your narrow behind down, I mean, and it was chaotic, but it was sad. It was sad. You know what I'm saying? But I look at it like this. For all the things that cops do, some cops do that's not right. Yeah, we got a right to march and do all of that. That buffoonery, I was so embarrassed for St. Louis. You know what I'm saying? Not just black people. I was embarrassed for St. Louis as a whole because it was ignorant. At some point, every cop ain't bad. Like every black person ain't bad. Every white person ain't bad. Every whatever. We were talking about a couple weeks ago, hidden racism, right? And how some people just assume certain things of certain races. It's not always true, right? And the same goes with different genres of occupations and such. All cops ain't bad. And at some point or another, you're gonna need the police. Please believe me. You know what I'm saying? But when they show up, if they gave you what you gave them, how would you feel in that moment? If you needed them and they showed up and they start twerking and they start being ignorant, we'd be marching in the streets and we'd be carrying signs and Black Lives would matter.
Right.
We have to do better.
That's crazy.
We have to do better because that was some rant over. It was mud. They needed a whooping. All them kids. Somebody didn't come down there with their belt. And there was one little boy dancing on the cop car. All his ass was out. Wasn't no sagging to it. Bro, pull your pants up. There was no sag. His entire buttocks. If I could see the whole crease of your ass.
It's like, bro, put your pants on. Don't put them up. Put them on. It's like, put some pants on, little boy.
Right. Hold a booty out, little boy. It was crazy. I'm done. Rant over. Get it together, St. Louis. There it is. We want the numbers. Can we do the numbers? I'm on a roll.
Yeah, we can do a number.
Last week I didn't have no energy drink. I went and got my medicine today. I'm fired up today. Okay, here we go. That's another sponsor we need to get. I'm gonna start reaching out to people. All right.
Yeah. Because you showing some mad love. You
I
see
know.
what I do? I put my stuff in the cup. You ain't gonna give me no money to show your name. Then I ain't showing your name, people. That's how it goes.
I'm an unofficial. No, don't be bitter. No, I'm playing. I'm sorry. Okay. The numbers for the vaccine. Over the last week, St. Louis or Missouri has done 135,000. Illinois came up. They did about 76,000. I'm going to get my first vaccination today.
Ooh, they done got you off. And
I'm scared. I just want to
frying pan and into the fire.
I I normally want to travel. I got a trip to Punta Cana in December for my 50th, and I don't want them trying to say, "Oh, you need your little race
You know
card."
that's coming. Is like, I looked at your ID, lady, and there's no vaccination stamp on your ID that says you've been vaccinated, so you can't leave the country.
Right.
You know
not only.
you
You
know
know
that's
it's coming. You know it's coming. And I like to travel way too much. I got to get me up out of here. So yeah. So yeah, I go get my first one this week. And then just praying all goes well with that. I know it'll be well, but still, because I was holding out. I was gonna be the first last one, but look like I'm not gonna be. You gonna be the first last one.
Listen, man. I'm gonna let all y'all get y'all vaccinations. That way, nobody got to worry. If I get it, y'all
Right.
can't get it because y'all all been vaccinated.
It take one. Somebody got to test the theory. Might as well be you.
I want to prove that the vaccine works. So
Right. You know what? You're a giver.
Yes,
You're a giver.
I am.
Man,
I'm willing to be a guinea pig for this experiment.
Right.
Or y'all willing to be guinea pigs for y'all experiment. I don't know. Either way, we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out.
Okay. Well, that's the thing. I'm on the roll. I'm ready for the A word of the day. I'm sorry. I'm pushing
ladies
us.
and gentlemen, Michelle every single Tuesday brings us a word, what they call a rhema word, a right now word, a word that's living and alive.
I shouldn't be doing that.
You probably shouldn't do that on a rhema word. That's the third thing. So, right here on the St. Louis Hustle Podcast, it's time for the Michelle A word of the day.
Woo!
And now the Michelle I word of the day.
There, you wouldn't got me a brother from down under. Look at that. Wouldn't got me an Aussie to do the announcement of A word of the day. So Michelle A word of the day. Well, you know what? Thank you, my brother from down under. Goodness gracious, we got to give him a name. That's we're gonna call him Aussie or something. Okay, the A word of the day. So backing up real quick to my brunch when I was out with my friend Melissa Wilson and her daughter Jamila, and I call the girl Pooh Bear so much I don't even know her real name. Hey girl, love you. Okay, so we were at brunch and we were enjoying the mimosas, and the subject of peace came up, right? And I got a phrase, and kind of anybody that know me kind of know this phrase. Ain't nobody worth my peace. You cannot give away your peace. If you share it, you got to make sure that you be able to get some more, right? You got to know where peace comes from in order to have peace, right? So we were drinking it, brunching it up. And so we got to thinking, when you have peace and you get it from the right source, it's kind of like the mimosa. We was doing bottomless mimosas. And so the phrase bottomless peace came up. And I was like, whoa. So we use the example of the corral, right? You ever go and you get mimosas that's given to you in a corral, and you fill your own glass up. And when you have the right source for peace, and that should come from the Lord, it is, saying, God is my peace. You have the right source for peace. If you choose to share some of that peace with somebody else, that's your choice. But you have to remember to go back to the source to replenish, right? So that your carafe stays full. If you don't go to the source, you'll share your peace out, or you'll use and absorb your peace, and you won't be replenished. It won't be it'll be like going buying a single glass of mimosa, which never makes any sense. Who does that? Okay, so you know what I'm saying? Having that peace, choosing to share it, you know what I'm saying? Because first I was just like, I can't give away my peace. That's mine. God gave that to me. You know what I'm saying? But picturing it, if we interact with people that maybe are at a lesser degree than us, we kind of have to give some away. We kind of have to. I think we have to share it a little bit. But you can't give it all to where you deplete yourself, and they now got the peace you used to have, and you walk around on empty. Your craft is it. You can't do that. So staying tied to the source of peace makes your peace truly bottomless. Man, so if I had to encourage anybody today, This was much more impactful when the mimosas was flowing. Maybe I'll try that next time. I'm gonna have some mimosas when I do this. But stay tied to the source, which is God. Make sure that your peace is first in your life. Like we're talking about self-awareness. Make sure you got peace in your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before you try to give it away. And in that way, when you have connection to that source, it really will be bottomless peace. So that's the A word of the day.
I love it. I love it. Michelle, A word of the day. Do we bring Aussie back? Let's bring Aussie back.
And now the Michelle I word of the day.
All right, so we're gonna do another one today. That has been Michelle A word of the day. So yeah, we're gonna keep Aussie around. Y'all let us know if y'all like Aussie. Y'all like Aussie for Michelle's A word of the day. Let us know. Uh-oh. She got a hand up. That means
how about on the days when Aussie sleep in, we should have one of our peoples, one of our friend of the shows like Melissa or the dude who's doing the sponsor for us, he the sponsor on the A word of the day. Slide somebody in and be like, hey, or have it recorded. This is so and so, and hey, this is Michelle A word of the day.
Man, that would be dope. That would be dope.
You could be a part of the show and introduce the A word of the day. Just
boom.
Boom. There it is. Shout out to my people over at Miracle Earth. I'm sorry. Okay. I just want to shout out. I'm going to see them today. Hey, y'all.
So we're talking self-awareness.
Yes. So
today. You want to kick us off? Let's get into this thing. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, if y'all have not smashed that share button, shame on you. Don't be over here getting all this good. And y'all know that some people on your timeline need some self-awareness because they're all out of touch. And we need to help them too. So hit that share button, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into it.
You ever talk to somebody who's not self-aware? That's a conversation to be had. It really is. It matters so much. I'm a freestyle this thing because that is probably throughout all of my working career in corporate America, which ends Friday, by the way. Hey, shameless plug for me. For all of my years of working in corporate America, 20 plus years, all of my vice presidents and senior leaders have always said the same thing. Michelle, you are super self-aware, and it is a feather in your cap. It is something that will really help set the trajectory. I love that word. It'll set the trajectory for your future because it helps you to examine you first. When you're not self-aware, sometimes you have a skewed or jaded viewpoint of society, of other people. And you ever see somebody that walk around in the cloud and you be like, they don't even know.
And they think it's multiverse do you live in?
Right. Be like, you think it's everybody else? Chica, it's you. It's you.
No, y'all just don't get it.
Right.
Yeah, we actually do.
We do. We don't want it. No, we don't. You tell me we don't get it.
You don't get it.
Right, and apparently you don't want it. So the dictionary defines self-awareness as knowledge and awareness of your own personality or character, right? So in a nutshell, when you're self-aware, you have an accurate and clear understanding of your personality, your strengths, and your weaknesses, right? Your reasons, like your rationality and your beliefs. You have a really good core understanding of those things, right? And it helps you, like you mentioned it earlier, it helps you on how you view the world. It helps your worldview. If you're not in touch with you, all those other things going to be off. Relationships, how you do business, all of those things will be skewed, and you will be that person that'll be like, she off. No, something wrong with it. You don't want to be that person. People, when they're not self-aware, they run into that issue.
That's right. And when you have not defined those things for yourself, then it's easy for other people to define them for you. And that becomes, that's even worse. I heard the definition of power, Michelle, is that when you can define someone else's reality and have them adopt that definition as if it is their own. right? And I think that's what happens with us as a community
Yeah.
is somebody else has told us what blackness is, what it means to be a black man, a black
Wow.
woman. And when you
Wow.
don't have your own self-awareness and you haven't identified for yourself,
Yeah.
you by default assume everybody else's definition of you. And that, my friend, is not healthy. So
No.
let's get into this self-awareness deal and really
Okay.
break down. We're going to do two things. Before we go to break, we're going to give you what it is and the importance of it. And then on the other side of the break, we're going to talk about how to develop it for yourself. But go ahead and comment in the chat where you're from. Drop the name of your business and on your brand and smash that share button, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know, have you had an issue with someone not being self-aware, or have you had a self-awareness issue yourself, Michelle? And I'll tell you I have, and I'll kind of sprinkle my story throughout.
Sprinkle?
Yeah, sprinkle me, man. E40 and yeah.
Some things you just don't be ready for. I wasn't ready. Wasn't ready for the
You wasn't ready. I hit her with the sprinkle me. She wasn't ready.
I wasn't ready. She wasn't ready. I wasn't. Okay. So your level of self-awareness, it can influence your relationships and your career, you know what I'm saying, and even your happiness, right? So point number one that I want to make, self-awareness is necessary for taking control of your life. The direction of your life is determined by your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions, and your reactions. Man, you better say that. Mm-hmm. Self-awareness is a principal way of understanding and manipulating these things. So when you big picture that, right? If self-awareness, if it determines the directions of your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions, and your reactions. If I'm self-aware and I know that I am going to take the high road in most situations. Just had to talk to my daughter last night. I'm gonna try to take the high road in most situations. So that sets my reaction that if somebody come for me, I don't have an immediate reaction to come back. I'm gonna let it simmer, and then I gotta make a decision how I'm gonna go. Now sometimes I don't go high enough, and then I do come for the jugular. However, in a perfect world, I do try to stay above the radar, in what I do. So that for me being aware that I say, okay, not passive. I just choose peace. I just choose a reconcilable resolution for most argumentative situations. So that's me. My self-awareness is I know that about me. So,
correct. I love that. And I'll tell you, for the first, I don't know, 25, 26 years of my life, I tried very, very hard to convince the world that I really was who I was pretending to be. Man. And it almost killed me, Michelle. And now it took me going through a period of depression, a period of mental breakdown for me to really fall in love with CORTEZ and accept me for who I am. At my core. Now, the things that I want to grow into, that doesn't mean you can't change because you're self-aware, but just understand that until you become self-aware, you won't change because you don't know what to change until you accept who you are and where you are. It's that whole GPS thing, man. If when you pull out your GPS, the first thing you got to know is where you at. Then it's got to know where you want to go. And then you can create a roadmap. So self-awareness is you centering yourself and accepting, hey, at this point in my life, this ain't about where I am. This is exactly where I am. And if you don't want to be there, then you have an opportunity to do something about it. Self-awareness highlights false beliefs and emotion reactions that stand in your way and gives you the power to make adjustments. Man.
When I tell you that right there, if I were to look at, because I am a fan of, again, self-examination, and I know my weaknesses, right? I may not have them all on the radar, but the majority of them I'm aware, right?
Yeah.
A weakness that I know I want to improve upon is that it just left me. my memory. Now, right, let's start there. Got started. Oh,
get you some ginkgo biloba up in
right.
there.
My mama used to take that. Didn't help her. Didn't help her. I didn't want them other brain things. But it is, I used to, and it's something I noticed in myself and I wanted to change, and I start slowly making the change. I wanted a happy ending for everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had to realize, and this is where I really started, I was a people pleaser. And I had to recognize the first 20 plus years of my life, because I wanted people to be happy, I always tried to go above and beyond to do whatever was asked of me to do. When, here's a news flash, I get the right to say no.
That's right.
If I don't want to do something, I get the right to say no. But probably the first 25, 30 years of my life, I was like, yeah, I will. Because I thought it made me a better person. It does not. If your heart ain't in something that you do, you might as well not do it, because God up there like, you should not did that, because I saw your heart and it was nasty. Stop it.
Right.
You know, so I realized about myself, I have to stop myself, because a people pleaser in me, when someone asks me to do something, I almost, let me think about it. Let me go pray about it. And then I will go and think about it, consider it, pray about it. And I've found and have developed over the last 10, 15 years, more of an opportunity to say no to the things I truly don't want to do, instead of just saying yes because.
Yeah. And no, ladies and gentlemen, is a complete sentence.
Absolutely.
You don't have to, there's no requirement of a explanation behind the no, because that's also, when you're a people pleaser, that's also no, because I got this and it's just no. It's just no. You don't need no explanation for why I'm not doing it. It's just I'm not. Real quick, give a shout out to my brother. Seth Miller is in the building checking us out. If you have not gotten your copy of the Black Collar Mindset, Seth, go ahead and drop that in the comments. We did get ours. He was asking, hopefully, that we both got our book. So Michelle has got her as well. So drop your link in the comment, brother. If you haven't gotten that, it's great book. I can't wait to get into it myself. Number 2, self-awareness illuminates the real reason for past failures and challenges. Man. See what you got to understand. Let me just read this real quick, and I'm going to help you guys understand something.
Break it down.
We often dismiss our failures and bad luck or a lack of proper timing. It's much more likely that you fail to perceive the situation, others, and yourself accurately. It's much easier to see the reason behind relationship, work, and other struggles when you can look at yourself clearly. Do you consistently struggle at work or in relationships? It's only logical to conclude that you're doing something ineffectively. There's a saying, Michelle, that I love, and I hit my sons with it all the time. It's like, listen, everywhere you go, there you are.
Right.
So if everywhere you go, there's a problem, what's the common denominator?
There it is, all the time. Absolutely.
Everywhere you go, there you are.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So one of the things I had started to do is I had to just learn how to take full responsibility for everything in my life. When I think about when the Apostle Paul says, "You are all gods under the Most High God," it makes me think that if I'm a God under God, that means God created the whole world. I have the ability to create my whole world. And if my world is upside down, I have to take responsibility for that because I created it. Right. And I think it's very hard for a lot of people to accept the responsibility of creating the world in which they live in. Absolutely. And you talk about it a lot. And my mom is really big on this. A lot of times they're creating that world with the words that they're speaking and their thoughts. And there it is. Like my mama said, the will of God is voice activated. And we're saying the wrong things. And that's why we're not activating the right things in our lives, because we're not saying the right thing. So everywhere you go, people, there you are. Do you want to change?
Right there. Looking at you. Like, when did you get here? Oh, I've been here.
Right.
Looking at you. It's like Chris Tucker said, do you believe the words that are coming out of your mouth?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just do you hear them? Do you believe them? And if so, what do you say? That whole nother thing, right? One thing a point I wanted to just piggyback on what you were saying was where you say about, creating your own world and kind of being responsible. Okay, so spoiler alert, I stay single more than I stay in relationships. And if every single relationship that I've had ends the same way, I had to be honest. Man, come on, somebody need to hear this. If all your relationships end the same way, you ain't dating a bunch of bad people. I'll wait.
Where you go.
Blank, blank. There you. They keep doing this. They keep doing. Oh, really? What do you keep doing that keeps leading to the same outcome? And that's me. And I am smart enough to know that I might have some relationship issues / opportunities to seize in life where, if I keep getting the same end result, which I do, it's me. Yeah. I know I'm a runner. I know that once somebody gets too close, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? Just because I'm afraid of bad relationships. Now, I love good ones, and them are the ones that last. But the ones that I'm like, this joker crazy. I got to get away from this man. Whoa. And because I've been there, done that, I have to recognize that as a weakness and do something to change the trajectory of where I'm going in relationships. If I ever want to be married, you know what I'm saying? There's some work that I have to do when I enter those circumstances. But if I didn't have the self-awareness, I'd be that person that moved from relationship to relationship in life thinking that it's them and not me.
Yeah, and point that finger, man. I can't help but think about a Cat Williams joke, but this is a family show, so I'm going to leave that where it's at. So we're talking self-awareness, ladies and gentlemen. Let us know if you ever had problems with self-awareness. Melissa says, yes, I had to overcome being a people pleaser as well. That is something that a lot of people struggle with. A lot of people struggle with saying no and getting roped into a lot of things that don't align with their purpose, don't align with the vision that they have for themselves, and they get off track. I am guilty of that. And a lot of people struggle with not being able to take full responsibility for their lives. So before you want to wrap this up before we go to break, and then we'll get into some practical steps that you can take to help you with your self-awareness.
Absolutely, absolutely. Final point in the doing that. Self-awareness is a critical quality for leaders. I can tell you, it's a critical quality for leaders. One study concluded that a high degree of self-awareness was the best predicator of success for executives. Executives that have an understanding of their own weaknesses are able to build a team composed of members that fill those weaknesses. Man, let me tell you what I tell you. I'm a boss. I've been a boss. Thank you, Lord. Okay. And I hire people to fill in those gaps. And here's the thing. Bless God, because I did it innately. I didn't know I was doing it when I did it, but I know I don't like numbers. So I hire somebody to do numbers for me. I know that I'm not real good with execution. Hire somebody that is great at execution. I fill the gaps, but I'm self-aware to know. Don't have me do no PowerPoint. I mean, not PowerPoint, but a spreadsheet. Me in Excel. Who is Excel? Oh, that helper don't like me and I don't like her. So I hire somebody to do it for me. So yes, I agree with that. Love
it. And that's the thing, man. It's not just being self-aware of your strengths, not being self-aware of your weaknesses for the sake of just knowing them. It's for the sake of doing something about them, right? And like Michelle said, you don't have to. I don't lean into my weaknesses. I'm like Michelle. I'm gonna lean into my strengths. And then I'll have people around me that can take care of those. That way, I just want to operate where my 10 is. And let everybody else, help me, in those shorter areas. I use the example of Steph Curry a lot. I use a lot of basketball analogies. It's my favorite sport. But Steph Curry is an amazing three-point shooter. And when people started to see how well he can dribble the basketball, they say, man, he's trying to fix his weakness. I'm like, no, he's not. He's becoming a greater ball handler because it allows him to get to his strength better, which is shooting the three-pointer. Right. And say, well, Steph Curry over the last 5, 6, 7 years have really gotten good at going to the basket. He's fixing his strength. No, he's not. He's fixing his weakness. He's not. He's shoring up his strength. See, his strength is shooting the basketball, But if I cannot get to the basket, then I'm just going to play you close, so close that you can't shoot. But
Right.
now if I have the ability to get around you, you can't play me close. So now you're sagging off just a little bit. And that boy only needs just that much daylight, Michelle, and he letting that thing fly, and it's going in 4 out of 10 times. That's why he makes the big bucks. So lean into your strengths, ladies and gentlemen, but be aware of your weaknesses so you can know how to put the right team around you to help you in those places. Speaking about putting the right team around you, ladies and gentlemen, I want to help you put the right financial team around you where you can get your money working for you. You can stop losing your money to the big three. And I couldn't find nobody else to do this video other than my personal coach and mentor. And this is a guy who's lost his first million in his late 20s, got it all back in his 30s. Why? Because he understands the power of putting the right team around him after losing in the first place. So we're going to take a short break, and we'll come back on the other side. I'm going to give you some tips on how to build out your self-awareness. So keep it locked right here.
Here's a question for you. Why are you letting another multi-billion-dollar industry and multi-million-dollar partnership pass you by? Think about it. You may have missed the dot-com era. You may have missed the age of the computer. You may have missed technology. But why are you going to miss another opportunity when you can get a small percentage of a billion-dollar pie and change your family's legacy? One thing I know for sure, opportunities are not missed. They're just passed to the next prepared person. My name is Brian M. Bean, founder of the Extra Digit Movement, and one of my business partners gave you this video for one reason. We're about to take the real estate industry and the financial industry by storm, period. Think about it. Everybody ultimately needs a place to stay. Now, I didn't buy this land and these 20 acres with our new partnership that we have with Making Wealth Real Financial. I was very, very blessed to turn $228 into $228,000 in just 8 short months. Making Wealth Real Financial did give me the 750 and above credit score. Making Wealth Real Financial did give me the cash to put in my pocket and close this deal and build my dream home on, guess what? 20 acres. Did I mention to you that we have credit restoration specialists? Did I mention to you that we have enrolled agents with the IRS to help you lower your taxes? Did I mention that we have debt elimination specialists as well? Did I mention that we have negotiators who will help you shred your bills and create positive cash flow? Imagine living the life of your dreams, fishing when you want to fish, building a house that you own. Imagine having business partners who care enough about you to share with you the power of our new multi-million-dollar real estate venture. And guess what? You don't have to be a sophisticated investor. You don't have to be an accredited investor. You don't have to be a real estate specialist. You don't have to be a real estate broker or agent to take advantage of our real estate joint venture partnership. Guess what? The average person now can buy, sell, flip, and invest in real estate without the risk and without the headaches, because we have experts who do all the work. So whether you're ready to invest in real estate or not, take advantage of this opportunity in this short video by getting back with the person who introduced you and just say or text keyword soft intro. That lets us know that you're ready for a deeper dive into the next step to make wealth real for you and your family. Get back with the person who introduced you to the video, and I'll see you guys on step 2.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. If you need a team around you to help you in your finances, text soft intro to 314-874-6887. Text keyword soft intro to 314-874-6887. Especially if you know you need a second stream of income, this is a great program for that. So be self-aware. You need another stream of income.
Right.
And
Don't be out there broke.
Let's talk about how we can help you in that area. So we talked about self-awareness and the importance of it and what it means and all that stuff. But we ain't here to do doom and gloom without providing solutions. We are solution-oriented here on the St. Louis Hustle Podcast. So we're going to hit you with some things that you can do to help you develop your self-awareness. So you want to hit them with number 1, Michelle?
Sure. All right, number 1, write your own manifesto, right? Think about, then document your views on life. You know what I'm saying? What are your goals, your intentions, You might be surprised at what you write. This is a great first step for understanding yourself and your beliefs. So write it down. Pardon me. The Bible says, write the vision, make it plain.
Mm-hmm.
Plain, people. You also write down, well, this is the way I feel about life. You know, it says manifesto, but some people might call it journaling. You know, journaling, I've learned that journaling doesn't have to look like something specific. Journaling could be, I'm writing down who I am, and this is what I believe about life, about God, about whatever, life, love, liberty. I'm writing down those things. And because it's good to, it's one thing when you have things floating around here, but when you see them on paper, sometimes it's like you go back and read and be like, oh, who is that? Is that me? Oh my. It helps you be self-aware. So write down your manifesto, your thoughts, your intentions, your beliefs, write those down.
Yeah. And one of the things that you can do if you don't quite know or feel a strong sense of belief in one area or the other, then you can always also write down what you don't believe. Write down what you're not. That helps as well.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
if you write down that you're not a liar or a cheat, then by default what you're saying is you're a person of integrity. If you write down that you are not lazy, then by default what you're saying is then I'm someone who has a great work ethic. So sometimes identifying what you're not comes easier than identifying what you are. But you want to have a clear plan, a clear definition of who you are, what you believe, and how you operate, right? My manifesto is I'm an eternal optimist, man. Everything is going to work out for my good, man, at the end of the day. So and I approach life that way, and that's part of my manifesto, right? Is optimism, right? So create that for yourself. Number 2, make a list of your strengths and weaknesses. How do you know? Are you certain? Avoid jumping to conclusions. You may have always believed that you're a hard worker, but are you? To whom are you comparing yourself? Provide yourself with proof before you make any decisions.
I love
so
it.
Really dig in, people. Really, like when I say I'm a hard worker, I have to compare myself not to somebody else, because here's the danger. And most people don't see this when in comparison, Michelle.
Come on.
The danger in comparison is if we live in a world where mediocrity is celebrated, we start looking around at everybody else, and the minute we're just a little bit better than everybody else, we think we're great. No, if everybody in your circle is below average and you stand head and shoulders above them, Jigga, you just average. You know what I like to do, Michelle, is I pay attention to people's ages. Like me and Mark Zuckerberg are around the same age.
Okay.
His bank account looks like a phone number with the country code in front of it. My bank account, I ain't gonna talk about what my bank account looks like. That's personal. That's my own business. But the way it's set up, though,
you're right. Your checking and your savings, right? It
so
looks like a zip
I look
code.
at. So it's very easy to get around people who are below average and
think you do
beat on my chest. But then I have to remind myself, this is how I humble myself, Michelle. You and Mark Zuckerberg are the same age, right? You and Kobe Bryant around the same age. You and certain people that I look up to, it's like, man, when I put it in that perspective, it's stop looking at the jokers around me because we all doing nothing together. Look at where everybody else is. And then I also look at what I know God put in me. It's like,
I can't.
Cortez, you are not maximizing your potential. Right. And Michael Jordan has a great quote where he says, I never compare myself or compete with anybody else. I compare myself against my own potential. And when you look at it like that, you ask yourself, are you really living up to who God created you to be and what you know in your knower that you could and should be doing?
I'm gonna just say this. That's why I go back to the point that you got to know the word, because you got to know what God says about you to know, are you living up to the potential that He put in you, right?
That's right.
There are some people who have a puffed up sense of self that think, oh, I should be doing blah, 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 blah. That's because it's coming from self and not the word. But if you dive in, I'm not saying you got to be a Bible scholar. I'm not saying any of that, but I'm saying pick it up and just find a point of study. Just, Google is a wonderful tool. I ain't gonna tell you how to study the Bible, but Google is a wonderful tool. You can use it to get you jump started on something. But the point in case is, you can't know what your potential is or what God has for you as potential if you don't know what God said. Right? So you had to know what God said in order for you to go, like, man, CORTEZ, God has so much more for you. You don't know what the more is if you ain't reading. So once you find that out, that thing does stir in you. And it does say, we had this discussion before, I know I was meant for so much more than what I was doing. It was me. It was me, because God put it in me. The potential is there. You know, I find that in self-awareness moment, I find that when I'm being unequivocally me, Michelle Renee Akins, that is when I'm at my very best. That is when people, hey, who are you? Hey, didn't you? Hey, can I get you to? It's when I'm being me. Loving, silly, goofy shell. But soon as I try to not rise above, but soon as I float into an area where I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm on autopilot. That doesn't work for me. I got to stay grounded and stay kind of who I am. So, again, just knowing, those strengths and weaknesses, how you float in and out, Wait, this is my last thing. Where you said, are you a hard worker? Who you compare yourself to? Now, if you compare yourself to like the lazy joker down the street that don't never do nothing, of course you're a hard worker. You do it a bit much more than the laziest person you know.
Right.
No.
Yeah, and that's what we do, Michelle. I get up and go to work every day, and you comparing yourself to the person who lay on the couch and play video games every day. So you think you're doing something, but what do you do when you get to work?
Right.
Seriously. Are you out working your coworkers, or are you just resting on that? Hey, I get up and go to work every day. But are you being the best version of yourself?
Everybody can get up and beat some work. Hell, a bum could get up and go beat some work. What do you, like you said, what are you doing? So what are you doing? All right, number 3. This is a fine line. I got to ease into this one. What would others say about you? Consider how your partner, your children, your friends, your family, your coworkers, and your boss would describe you. What would they suggest you improve about yourself? Then ask them and see how accurate you are. Do you know how others perceive you? Find out how perceptive you are. So thin line, right? It's not necessarily caring about or dictating your life predicated on what someone else thinks or says about you. We're not talking about that. We're talking about, I got a sneeze coming. Jesus. Woo! Excuse me. We're not talking about that. We're just saying being aware of how you're perceived, being aware of how others see you, right? Yeah. And again, making an observation based on that about yourself, right? Yeah. If I know that people perceive me to be warm and loving and friendly, then I'm like, okay, well, I'm lining up because that's what I thought I was giving out. But if I think I'm doing that and people say I come off passive aggressive, if I think I'm doing that and they say I come off insensitive, which sometimes people sound insensitive, I don't know where they get that from. Anywho, but how do others? My kids call me insensitive. I am not insensitive. Say it again, I'm gonna bust your head. That's what I would say if I was insensitive. But since I'm not insensitive, I'm not gonna bust nobody's head. That's something somebody insensitive would do.
Right.
Case point. Have a broad perception of how you're being perceived. That's it.
Yeah, and that's huge. And like you said, the word says there's wisdom in a multitude of counselors. It didn't say you have to go and do everything that the multitude says to do, but let's be real. We're talking self-awareness. If 8 out of 10 people say you're a jerk, I'm not gonna call you a jerk, but you might have jerk-like characteristics if 8 out of 10 people say you're a jerk. right? Come on.
Take
So
seats.
you really have to kind of be open to that criticism and that critique, and then also use your discernment and also read between the lines. Because sometimes the people that love you won't tell you to your face you're a jerk. They might say stuff like, yeah, you know, some of the things that you do, I just kind of don't like. They don't sit right with me. They just rub me the wrong way a little bit. But you cool though. No, what they're telling you is you're a jerk. They just don't have the courage to say you a jerk.
You're a jerk,
So
right?
use your discernment to say, wow, if I'm rubbing everybody the wrong way, I've got some jerk-like characteristics, right? Number 4.
Yes.
It says meditate, right? Meditation is all about developing better awareness of the present moment and yourself. Meditation is an ideal activity for enhancing self-awareness. Meditate at least once each day. Spend the rest of the day paying attention to yourself, others, and your surroundings. You can develop a higher degree of self-awareness just by paying attention. Question yourself throughout the day. What am I attempting to achieve? What emotions am I currently feeling and why? What are the people around me feeling based on my presence, right?
Yep.
One of my virtual mentors, Brendan Burchard, always says, bring the joy. It's like when like I hate people who say, man, I walked into the room and the energy was low or the vibe was low, but you there. Or they would say things like, man, this party is whack, but you're at the party, you're contributing to the whackness of the party, right? So whenever I walk into a place, I'm responsible for my own happiness and my joy. So I bring it with me everywhere I go. I can't expect to walk into a room and that room to feel me. No, I want to walk into the room and if there's no joy there, guess what? It is now because I brought it with me. And this is how I operate and how I try to, again, going back to my manifesto, I don't want to be that guy who subconsciously has to depend on the things around me. No, I understand that it's important to understand your surroundings, but it's also, you can be like a lightning rod for every situation. I can be like the spark that unlocks the joy in everybody else if I bring that joy and that positivity into a room, and that's what I try to do.
But you know what? No, I 100,000 million bazillion. I agree with you. I remember, gosh darn it, a pastor of mine. She used to say, "You change the atmosphere when you walk in a room." You know, and I didn't realize it until as of late, but I kind of, you have to see that person that come in the room, like they used to portray this on, like if you watch old TV shows, that person that comes in the room and they come in as a klutz, knocking over stuff and knocking tables, and I kind of come in like a wrecking ball sometimes. and sometimes there are some atmospheres or some places I go where I enter the room and people expect for me to cut up, or they expect an energy. They expect something from me because they're used to, whenever I'm around, that this thing shows up with me. This light, this energy. And I had someone tell me that I have, and I've heard it before in different pretenses, but I had somebody tell me that I have an aura around me, right? That I have this thing that draws people in, that people look at me and before they meet me, they go, something different about her. But then when they meet me and get exposed to my Shelleyisms, they go, man, you know, you share, like in that space that you fill up a space, you fill up a room. And you're right. I think if you are looking for something, when you enter into a space, be the change you want to see. If, like you said, if you walk into the party and the party whack, guess what? You part of the whackness. Now you got a choice. We're gonna turn up because it's a party, or we're gonna turn down. But I say turn down for what? So turn down for what? But I mean, you have, I think everybody has the ability to affect the atmosphere. It just depends on the person. Yeah. I choose to be me and let me come in and just, again, I'm like Miley. I came in like a wrecking ball. Oh, all that up.
Yeah, and it's all about intention.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
if you come to a place where you are, and that's where it starts, with fully and wholeheartedly accepting where you are. And that's in all of the 6 primary phases in your life: your finances, your emotional health, your spiritual health, your physical health, your social health. How do you conduct yourself in social environments? You come to the place of acceptance of where you are. That does not mean you plan to stay there, but you have to accept that this is where I am, right? My relationship with my wife, I have to accept, if I want to change it, I have to first say, okay, this is where I am. You've been telling me for years, I don't take the trash out until it's overflowing. Well, I got to accept that, okay, this is where we are in our relationship. If I want to change that, right, then I got to change. So you have to come to that first acceptance place first. And then when you look at that picture, when you paint it, when you write it all down and like, this is who I am, this is who I believe, this is who I am not. And I look at that, if you are displeased, do something. In my Kimberly Elise voice from John Q. Now, she didn't mean for him to go and hijack the hospital, but she wanted him to do something. So when you paint that picture, if you are not happy, do something. And guess what? That something could mean seeking professional help. We got to talk about it. Come on, man. We got to get past, as Black people, we don't seek therapy, right? You might need professional help in the sense like your battery may not be ruined and dead, but every now and then, if you leave the lights on for too long, in order for that battery to come back to life, you need a jump. You might just need a jump. You might not need therapy for the rest of your life, but you might need a jump. Absolutely. To reignite that fire or light that pilot. So absolutely. That is my final thoughts. I'll let you end with your final thought, Michelle.
Let me in now. Let me in now. Okay. All right. So now ditto to what you said. Self-awareness is the cornerstone of success and self-improvement. Without self-awareness, the knowledge you possess can't be applied effectively. You got to take a look at you, as CORTEZ said, know where to start, and know where to start, know where you currently are. Be honest with yourself. So it's like me going back to, if I look at relationships. Every man watching the show probably like, I know that was crazy. No, but it's like looking at relationships. You have to be honest with yourself and say, there are some things that I could be doing different, right? Instead of always blaming someone else. Looking at yourself, self-examining, being self-aware, and then that's just a start. You don't have to stay there. I don't have to stay where I am. I can change. I can change. I can change and be different. I just have to be self-aware of where I'm starting. Then, like you just said with the GPS, you have some good points. You are smart. Okay. But it's like that, like you said with the GPS. Where am I going? Here's where I am. Where do I want to be? Marriage. And how do I get there? Okay. And it is by navigating the relationships that I have with people, with men, differently. You know what I'm saying? Not that it's horrible, but I got to do different to get a different outcome. That's right. So, there it is. Self-awareness, people.
Get some.
Get some. I know somebody that might be writing a little something about it, because I try to be really super self-aware. So y'all be on the lookout. I got a project coming up super duper soon. And it's going to talk about self-awareness and how to just really some different key areas about self-awareness. We're going to really break it down in my new book.
Love it. Who in the hell
do you think you are?
It's coming. It's coming.
And it's a woman's guide to discovering those key points of being self-aware, because I think that's where we begin as women, to see who we are, and then once we find out who we are, we can better plan how to get where we're going. So y'all be on the lookout for that project.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Talk to you guys next week. Peace.